Hey, what's up guys? My name is Will. I'm giving this YouTube thing a try. This is my first video, first go at it, so I'm excited. I basically just wanted to make a quick educational video, share some of the knowledge for the sport I love. It's on the 5K. Everybody wants to run a faster 5K, myself included. For me, my personal best went from like 16 something minutes down to 14:48 in just 2 years. And I really do attribute this entire improvement to really just a few key areas that we can focus on. And I find that simplifying it to 3 key areas is pretty helpful. Those 3 key areas to focus on to get you a faster 5K are threshold training, recovery methods, and fueling techniques. Okay, so threshold training. And when I say threshold, I mean lactate threshold, which is the fastest you can run while your legs are able to clear out lactic acid efficiently. So you're exceeding lactate threshold when you feel all that burning in your legs. To improve your lactate threshold, we want to spend as much time at threshold as possible every single week. Now, how do we actually do that? The best way to maximize your lactate threshold training is by doing high volume lactate threshold workouts. So these are repeats with relatively short rest. For instance, mile repeats with 60 seconds rest, or 1K repeats with 45 seconds rest, or 400 meter repeats with 30 seconds rest. I used to run these workouts way too fast. It's really because I haven't until recently actually known what lactate threshold feels like. So I'll do my best to explain how it feels in simple terms. You know that burning feeling in your legs? That's too fast. You're in your lactate threshold zone when you're at the point at which if you were to increase the speed at all, then your legs would begin to burn. But if you maintain your speed, then your legs won't. If you have a heart rate strap, then going by heart rate is actually a bit easier. It can kind of help guide you. Your lactate threshold zone is roughly 80 to 90% of your max heart rate. So if your max heart rate, like me, is 200, then the heart rate zone you want to be in during your threshold workout is going to be roughly from 160 to 180. For me, most of my threshold workouts are between 6 to 8 miles in total, excluding warm-up and cool-down. So let's say I'm doing 7 by 1 mile repeats with 60 seconds rest. Then I would ideally want my heart rate to be between 160 to 170 for the first 4 miles, 170 to 177 for the next 2, and then maybe hit 180 for the last 1. It's important for your heart rate to progress through the threshold workouts, from 80% of your max heart rate up to 90%. That zone is where you want to be during your lactate threshold workouts. Now, if you don't have access to a heart rate strap, then going by feel is actually sufficient. In fact, the key really is to know how you are feeling. You should feel like 1, the rest is more than enough. 2, feel like you're able to do a couple more repeats at the end of your threshold workouts if you had to. And 3, most importantly, you want to avoid burning in the legs at all costs. Now, to maximize the time per week we spend at threshold, we want to do these kinds of workouts frequently. Most pro runners do up to 4 of these workouts every single week. How do we fit in 4 threshold workouts per week? By doing 2 threshold workouts a day, twice a week. These are called double threshold. That may seem like a lot, but if you're doing your threshold workouts at the right intensity, these double threshold days are actually a lot more manageable than you may think. Now, I currently do about 3 of these workouts every single week. Next week, I'm going to start doing 4 threshold workouts per week. So 2 double threshold days per week. Now, comment if you want to see a video covering my double threshold days. I'm completely new to this YouTube thing, like I said. So all I ask is that you give me feedback on what you would like to see in the future, and I'll make it happen. Next is recovery, which is super important. I understood this concept a lot later than I should have, but essentially, you don't actually get faster when you're doing your workouts. You get faster when you're recovering. So you make all the adaptations when you sleep, when you nap, when you do an easy run. That's what actually gets the adaptation process started. Something else that's important to know is that adaptations from training typically take about 2 weeks to come into effect. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means that from the day you actually do a threshold workout, or any run for that matter, then you will make the adaptations from that workout and actually get better 2 weeks out. Adaptations take 2 weeks, give or take, to go into effect. Remember that. Now, with recovery, we have the opportunity to maximize the amount of adaptations we make from every single run or workout that we do. Unfortunately, many of us are out here getting like 50 to 60% of the adaptations from every single workout or long run that we do, when we could be getting 100%. Now, the question remains, how do we get to 100%? It's simple, but not always easy to do. Getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night, weekdays and weekends, it's simple, yet not super easy. Taking the recovery run days relaxed as possible, so simple, yet so hard for many of us to force ourselves to take it super, super easy on these recovery days instead of pushing the pace too hard. So to maximize our recovery and get the adaptations from the training, we need to get good sleep every single night, going to bed, waking up at roughly the same times, and taking our recovery runs super easy and sometimes super slow. Sometimes it's the boring recovery stuff that can actually make all the difference. That brings me to the final aspect to run faster, and it's fueling. Super overlooked in the running community if you ask me, but fueling, similar to what we talked about with recovery, is yet another way to further maximize your training adaptations. Again, we leave so much on the table when it comes to our gains. Like, everybody wants to get the maximum benefits from the workouts they do, but so few of us are actually thinking about how we do that. So, start by eating something immediately after every single run that you do. Whether it's a 4-mile jog, or a 14-mile long run day, or a threshold workout, eat something immediately after. Anything, with at least 15 to 20 minutes after finishing your run or workout. Okay, now that 15 to 20 minute period is called the anabolic window. You've probably heard that term somewhere before, but I won't get into it. I'm not Sam Sulik, so ideally you're going to eat something with both carbs and protein. So think of a bagel or a smoothie or a high carb protein shake or a sandwich. Even just a small protein bar will do. Just make sure it's high carb. That's important. Now, eating something after every single activity will maximize your adaptations and gains. What about fueling throughout the day? Think about it like this. You're a runner. You burn thousands of calories per day with the amount of running you do, right? Like whether you're doing like 40 miles per week or 90, you're going to want to eat a lot. An old coach of mine told me that my main job is to eat. Every day that I needed to, eat and have that be my main focus. May seem a bit extreme, and I agree, but the point is that you should at least avoid feeling hungry throughout the day. That's how you know you're eating enough. Alright, I really want to keep this video short and sweet. I really could talk about all this stuff for hours, which I actually do. I'm currently building a course and community for high-level distance runners. For now, it's actually completely free to join. It's in my description. Lots of cool stuff in there. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. That's my only ask. Also comment what you'd like to see more of. As I mentioned, this is really my first go at YouTube. I think it's a cool place to begin to share my passion and knowledge for the sport. Please let me know how I'm doing. Subscribe. And that's it.